Okay.
So,
Sorry?
as you can see,
Yes, that's what we're going to start with.
it's Fabrice's birthday today.
Yes.
Let me sit like Angela today and sit like this so everybody can see.
How old are you today, Fabrice?
All right, first of all, don't upset me, please. Do you know what? Yeah, let me talk about people trying to age shame people.
I wasn't trying to age shame you. I was just trying to find out how old you were.
Oh, because you actually don't know?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're a liar. Don't set me start again because I don't want people to know.
Let's not say things that we have to cut out.
All right. Well, you don't have to tell anybody. Just say.
No, because when you ask people how old you are,
hold on a second. Hold on. We're not going to do this again. So the last time you were terrible with your mic because you're trying to.
Yeah, because everybody gets to look like this.
No one sits like that. No one, I swear to you, I promise you, no one sits like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, hi, welcome to our podcast. Today I'm going to sit like this because I'd also like to benefit like Angela.
Could you make sure that you're speaking on the mic at the right
I'm going to try. I'm going to try my hardest too.
Thank you very much.
Anyway.
And it's your birthday, so you can say however you want.
Oh, thank you very much.
I mean, I don't know if you approve that message, Lyndon.
Well, you can say whatever you want. I'll keep it in.
I'll just sit however you want.
I'll sit however you want. Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, as long as I can see you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So happy birthday.
Thank you.
How was your birthday?
It was fantastic, actually. I had a great time, and in case you didn't see, go to my Instagram. No, it was cool. It was really, really lovely. I had a surprise with my lovely friends. Went for dinner, went for brunch with my mum, and then had a really lovely meal. Let's talk about people who really cook your favourite food when it's your birthday. Listen, Angela threw down to anybody who's listening. If your favourite food is oxtail, curry goat, she's your girl. If your favourite food is vegan macaroni, cheese and rice and peas, Stephanie's your girl, but Stephanie's already married.
Oh yeah.
So sad times
To
like
me.
that.
No, she said, let me make it very clear.
To me.
No, it was lovely. I had really a really nice couple of days. So yeah, now I'm just trying to figure out how to act like a 30-something woman. That will figure
Don't be
out.
ashamed,
You don't look
Listen, no one's ashamed, okay?
Can I just say, you don't actually look a day over 26.
Thanks, guys. To be honest, I actually don't feel like I'm 27. I feel like I'm 27. I don't feel like I'm the age I am. Oh, who cares? I don't care. I'm 35, and I don't understand.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Oh, Lyndon.
Live your best life.
Listen, I'm not trying to shame you, I'm trying to show you that there's nothing to be ashamed of.
What are you showing me?
Listen, I'm 33.
Okay.
Only 2 years younger than you. I'm not ashamed of my age.
Okay, that's because you're younger?
Only 2 years.
Okay.
2 years don't mean nothing now. We're in our 30s.
Angela, how old are you?
By the time,
I'm
hold on.
ashamed of mine, though, to be honest.
Why?
Because sometimes I just feel like you don't respect me. I'm 28.
For about another.
For 2 weeks.
Tell me. Listen, God made the year as long as it is because it's as long as it is. So I'm
Did
28.
God make the year?
Are you asking me my...
Did God make this 12-month
He
calendar?
made time.
Is this a God made calendar?
Oh, what? You know what?
It's not.
No, that's very true. I'm sorry about that. I retract.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I had a really lovely birthday. I wore this just for effect, to be honest, but it's getting on my nerves, so that can come off.
What, already?
Yeah.
No, you didn't even wear it for the...
No, it's making me hot. It's making noise. It's okay. I'll put it here.
Okay.
I'll put it there like
Talking of cooking, so I had an argument with, as I have many arguments with Angela, about roti versus chapati. And I'm not just talking about normal chapati. I'm not talking about Indian chapati. I'm talking about chapati that comes from East Africa, right?
Do you know when you're trying to sit properly and contain your jubilation, just to wait until the statements is.
And today, while eating the chapati that was cooked by Angela, I said, Trinidadian and roti can do one.
Woo!
It can do one. It can do one.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, the chapati was better.
It was banging, I'm not gonna
If you
lie.
haven't tried, do you want to be honest? I don't know if it's how it always tastes. I know that how she does it is fire. So maybe it's just hers.
bride price increase.
Can I just, as I accept
Maybe
this
it's just
award,
Angela's. So
As
I don't
I
know.
accept this award, I'd like to also thank
Go on, milk it. Go on.
yeah, Mama Cliff. Yeah. You are amazing. You are a legend in this cooking game. And I learnt everything I know about these particular chapatis from you. Thank you. I'd also like to do an honourable mention to Marcella as well. And my mum, because she's an amazing cook too. and Jesus, because he put something in my fingers. That's what I'm gonna say.
And me, because I think you cooked it with love for me.
Oh, absolutely. And the love I have for my friends, because that's what I cook for them, and it shows in the food.
Hallelujah.
Thanks.
I strategically sat here because it was right there.
Is that what you said? No, that's disgusting. Is that what you did? No, that's how I cook. Hold on, are there any left?
No.
What?
Yeah, there's not. But
Not one?
No, it's all right. I'll make some more. It's okay.
Wow.
It's gonna be okay.
This is the
Never
only
mind.
time I'll ever give anything to Angela in terms of winning. Cooking. That's the only time.
Well, we have to start somewhere.
Start and finish. Anyway.
Oh wait, talking about cooking.
Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Look at this segue. So the lovely Fabrice this week forwarded a video to our Instagram group, and it was a podcast called Double Down Podcast, and Zizi Mills was the special guest, and she was talking about, she made a statement and she said she's only cooking for a man that can provide. And I think she was just saying that men want, or like guys tend to ask in this 2020, can you cook? And she doesn't like that question.
But they ask like when you're like on a almost
Dating.
like dating.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So dating, and so, can you cook? And she doesn't really like that question because she feels like maybe it's out of context, or like maybe it doesn't really apply unless the man is willing to provide.
Yeah, she was saying the question and the idea of can you cook is like a very traditional stereotype or gender role. And she was like, okay, so if you're going to be asking me can you cook, like if we really take it back to traditional gender stereotypes, then you would ask can I cook because you are bringing home the bacon. So you're bringing home the food, or you're bringing home the funds to buy the food, right? Basically, like you are providing for me. And she was saying like, I'm not answering that question unless you're going to answer my question. Which, to be honest, I'm telling you, I've been asked, can you cook, a number of times by guys very early on, like in dating. And for me, I'm like, number one, I find it very fun. I'm like, of course I can cook. And then my question is, can you cook? They're like, no, man doesn't cook. East London stand up, man don't cook out here.
These are the men that you're dating, yeah.
So, what?
Man don't cook, yeah.
What did I tell you?
That's really weird.
It's that London banter. I don't know, but like I'm saying to you, I'm
Not
trying
the London banter.
It is.
I've had enough.
I'm trying to understand how you feed yourself, but man don't cook. What are you eating? But the thing is, when they've asked me, I don't feel offended from like you've got to bring home the bacon. I'm just like, why are you asking that so quickly? Because I don't even know your surname. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, let's just be sensible and have common sense. Like, let's really try to take things at a normal pace, as opposed to on the first or second date, can you cook? You don't even need to know if I can cook yet, because I'm not sure what I'm going to see you again. Do you know what I mean?
Obviously, you don't know that. It's just a question. There's no need to. I don't think there's any need to be offended by that question. It's just a question. It doesn't mean much.
Is it?
But even before we get there, it's so funny that you say that they ask you and then you ask them back. I never ask back.
Yeah, because you're you don't care.
Oh yeah, I
you
never
don't
really
care.
ask.
But the thing is, though, I'm happy to cook.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in,
No, I'm just thinking,
in my
maybe I
family.
should ask the
Is
question.
Zizi Mills happy to cook?
I don't
Oh,
think
we
she's.
don't know.
I don't think she's happy to cook. She said she's happy to
think-
cook if he provides. I think that's a lie. I don't think she's happy to cook whether he provides or not, and that's okay. That's all right.
That's how I feel like people that are offended. I'm surprised that you felt offended by someone asking that question.
On the first date, you can't be asking me those questions.
There's a lot of things that you can say on the first date that you might just be trying to think of something to say, and you just say that. I don't think it's.
Can you cook,
I
really?
don't think it's as deep as you think it is.
Can I ask you a question? So if you're on a first date, or you're just talking,
I
to,
wouldn't ask that
No,
question.
I know, but I'm saying, so if you're on a first date or second, or just kind of talking, getting to know somebody, and she said to you, so can you provide, like, what's your salary, like, what's your earning potential? Are you going to feel offended?
No, not offended, but if people ask a question, you can ask a question, and you get the answer that I'm prepared to give you.
So we're
And if
gonna
it's a
go-
first date and you
Yeah.
ask me how much I earn,
Yeah.
none of your business. Simple as that.
Okay, so for me, I feel like it's the same thing, because essentially,
It's not the same thing, because I could probably ask the other person
Is
how
it
much
not,
they earn.
No, is it similar?
It's not. It's a completely different question. It's not like we don't live in a world where
What?
men work and women don't work. We don't live in that world.
No.
Do you know what I think? I think what you're saying is that when guys tend to ask this question, they're trying to figure out if you are wife material, and it's that kind of feeling of like these are very stereotypical, like gender roles that you're trying to pry into when we don't even really know each other.
Yeah.
So it gives off that vibe. So if it was like a general question like, oh, can you swim? No one really care.
That's a question to ask on a first date.
I think it's bad. I think it's bad banter. I wouldn't ask that question because I just.
No, I don't think it's banter. I think
important.
that it's a real question. People really.
I think it's just terrible banter.
Do you know what I think? I think it's a mock. I think it's actually trying to. I think it is banter, and I think it's also like a little bit of a mockery. Like, you know, when they're just like, "Oh, can you even cook?" or like kind of trying to test you.
Yeah.
Or maybe they think that, oh, look, this girl is quite. What's the other word for bougie? That's nice. Is bougie nice?
Stush?
No. I'm talking about like fancy. This girl's quite fancy. I wonder if she likes nice things. She's dressed quite nice. She's got a nice job, whatever. Can this Fabrice girl even cook? Like, maybe she's one of those like.
Let me help everybody.
I don't. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. so I think maybe they're saying it like more like I wonder if. Maybe you're more of a career girl. Do you have a like? You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe like girls now. They I don't know. I don't know why they would ask that. But I think it's definitely like a banter type kind of like. It can be slightly annoying, but I never really think to.
I don't get massively offended. I really don't. There's not much that you can massively do to offend me except for not feed me on a first date. But that's a story for another day.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna.
It's a story
It's a story for another day. Okay. Today's my birthday podcast. Are you alright?
All right.
Okay, thank you. I don't feel like
I can't wait to say that in a couple of weeks. Today is my birthday podcast.
Soon coming it. I feel like I think there's two scenarios. I think I think guys do very seriously ask, oh, but can you cook? And I think it's ill placed if it's a first date, and I think that's bad banter. I really do. And then I think there's guys who are asking, and maybe they're kind of asking because they feel like they can pull it off, but they really want to know. Like, they want to know, so are you wifey material or not? And they're going to ask a number of different questions at different phases. But I think they genuinely want to know, and they're looking for the answer. Like, I don't think it's... but I think the guys who are asking and it's bad banter are probably guys who just don't necessarily know how to talk to women, perhaps, or, like, have common sense. And the guys who really want to know, they're trying to figure out, can you cook? Do you get on with your family? Like, all these kind of, like, wifey questions that really are questions, but you need to really, like, experience. Like, you just need to see what people can do as opposed to listen to the answers.
Yeah.
Go on.
No. I was gonna say, I was actually talking to my friend. I don't think she'll mind me saying this, but she was talking to a guy she hadn't met, and he was talking to her over the phone, like, kind of just trying to get to know her. And he said, he was asking all these questions. Can you cook? Can you? Would you mind being a housewife? I said, wow, even before meeting?
Someone asked me that. They said, someone asked me, would you, on the phone, would you want to homeschool our children, or would you want to work? And if you were...
Had you met?
No. And, like, as in, so I knew him, and we've been chatting for maybe a week, and like, would you want to homeschool the children? Do you want to raise your children vegetarian or meat eaters? Sir, I'm going to need you to really just calm all the way down. Do you know what I mean? Like, calm down, innit? We didn't even meet in the end. So
these are conversations that can come up naturally.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really have. I don't think
like
anyone should have like a list of things.
Bang.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay, cool. Check.
Check.
It just doesn't really work that way. But if they come up naturally, then it's fine to talk about that.
Yeah. No,
of
absolutely.
Course.
Yeah.
No, that's very true.
You just don't want to be interrogated.
Interrogated is the word.
Interrogated.
It's too much, especially on a first date. I just think that's the time to be like, hi, how are you? What's your name? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's too much. But, sorry, just to go forward, in terms of, like, actually what these stereotypes are saying, you know, I think it's really interesting that guys are asking women, yeah, that's what we're talking about, can you cook? Right? Because if they are kind of semi-serious, are we really suggesting that there's women out here who are, all the women that are married are ones that can cook? Because I can testify and say that's just really not the case. It's not the case. So I'm trying
to... Not everyone was asked.
But then also, I feel like that being able to cook is not a make or break of a marriage.
It really isn't.
Because if that was the case, first of all...
It depends who you are.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the individual, but I don't think just because you can't cook that you're you're not wife material. And I also think just because you can cook doesn't mean that you're somebody's wife, because all the chefs would be married. How about that? So
That's true.
So, to be,
But
I
I
don't
think
know.
in order to be a husband, I think that you maybe need to learn how to provide.
It's about
so-
female chefs, right?
Yeah.
But we talk about women being asked if they can cook.
yeah.
So which female chefs are single still?
Oh, I don't know their names.
Loads. I know
I
their
don't know
names.
their names.
What are their names?
Off my head. Shelley and her friend Anne.
Yeah.
Lucy and her friend Jessica.
And Karen. So,
I don't know how true that is, but it doesn't matter anyway. It doesn't matter anyway.
but you know, and
Obviously, just because you can't cook doesn't mean you're not going to get married. Obviously,
But no, that's not what we're
Obviously.
saying. We're saying you're asking that question because the narrative is that you need to be able to cook to get married. But that's
obviously not. Everyone knows that's not the case because there
Are you
are
sure
people that are
everyone
married.
knows?
Because there are people that are married that can't cook.
and you know what's so funny is what I feel like this is like a trend. Like I feel like some guys who don't really care about that will still ask because it's a trendy thing to ask.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
can you cook? But actually, if they really thought about it, they don't. Some of them don't care.
Yeah.
Some of them don't care, and that's not even like if they like you, they wouldn't care. So I
the
think
next
just,
guy that asks me, I'm gonna say, yeah, I can. And then, do you know what someone else has asked me? So what's your signature dish? I'm
that's
going.
see. So I don't
Why,
mind
why,
asking.
why is that offended you?
No, it's not offensive, but I'm just for me.
It's offended her because she hasn't got a signature. Just all of them are.
She said all of them are.
All of
no,
them are.
no. That doesn't offend me. First of all, I like cooking. Second of all, I'm happy to cook. Third of all, my dad's a chef, so I'm good. Like I'm okay. What I'm saying
So
is,
you could be down with the whole cooking conversation then.
yeah, I'm happy. Just to be clear, I'm very happy with traditional gender stereotypes. If you want to go out and bring in home the bacon, and want me to stay in the house and cook, at this age in my life, listen, it's something we can really consider. It's
I'd
not a
actually like to go on
problem.
record saying that actually something close to that is what I'd prefer. That's my preference. Thank you.
I'd like to go on a record
Yeah.
and say that.
Stress.
Let me.
in
For me,
case.
it's not a problem. I'm just talking. I think I'm talking about not even gender equality. I'm just trying to understand why are we asking certain questions and I don't even know your surname, sir, or I haven't even actually met you. Like, for all I know, you could have all kinds of situations going on and I haven't discovered that yet. And when I find that out, we're not even going to get to meet for a drink or a hot chocolate.
If
So
you-
we don't. You don't need
If
to
you
know if I
talk
can
about
cook.
if you have the cooking conversation, and you don't get to the point where you cook for him, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you had the conversation. It was just a conversation that happened. It doesn't matter if you don't reach that place. There is no place that is like, okay, now it's important to find out who can cook. No, it's just a conversation you have.
It's just chat.
Just chat.
It's just chat. Okay.
I think Zizi's being a little bit. Zizi probably has an issue because you can't cook.
I
Probably.
actually don't
Linton.
know, Susie, and
But I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if you can cook.
Linton.
Girl, if you say you can cook, you can cook. Who am I to talk about you and your cooking? I don't know.
Linton, I don't know if we can say that.
I think she can, and you know,
And you like to say things that are true and factual, so I don't know why we're clutching
That's
at
the
straws
problem.
here.
You never know. She might be able to. She might be an amazing
Throw
cook.
down.
She might be, but why is she so angry about it?
But
No, maybe she's just
Think about it. Why would she be so angry about a guy asking
she
her if he
gets
can
asked
cook?
all the
Maybe
time.
because she sees that this is a guy that she's on a date with, and he has no intention, or maybe he ends up not even paying, for the whole meal, and
God
he pays for
forbid.
his side, or he says, you know what, I paid for the taxi here, you get the meal. And
What?
then this guy has all that to ask, can you cook? Has no relevance in the. It's like asking what's the price of bread. It has no relevance in the whole conversation.
And with Angela,
what are you
it's not-
talking about?
it doesn't make
It's like a taxi
sense.
driver asking, can you cook? Why do you need to know?
Why do you
You
need
just
to-
made up an entire
I'm
scenario
just saying, I think that's
that you
why
don't know
I think,
that she had.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, I think that's
And
why
you
she
two are
would
slapping
be.
the table based on that
because we're very
scenario
angry.
that you don't know
And
actually
I'll-
happened.
And I'll
Very
slap
angry.
it again. I'll slap it again. Listen, what I'm saying is, just because you don't have to be able, you don't have to be able to cook in order to be offended at people asking you foolish
Okay, stop.
questions. I feel like we're coming across like we don't like Zizi, and I don't
Okay,
care.
You don't
let's
like
go on.
Zizi, though.
I don't.
I don't like
her.
Zizi. I don't like Zizi.
I
so
don't mind her.
No, I know you don't.
I've
like
been
her.
able to
you
tolerate
like her
her. Now she's
friends.
on a podcast
Yeah.
with
Be nice to
Sideman.
her, 'cause it's
With Sideman.
Sideman's friend.
Is it back
but
on?
he's been
Yeah?
able to rein her in a little bit.
Oh,
'Cause
Linton,
she's
I'm gonna need you.
too
To,
much.
let's go back. Let's go back. You
Listen,
rain.
we're not, we said that we're not gonna put things in the
Listen.
pit out. Oh gosh, Lyndon.
I feel like that was quite
Give us high
excessive.
blood
So,
pressure.
she's not gonna listen to this.
No, what?
You might. You never know, he might tag her in it, and this is why we get viral. And then now we got Sideman getting on his own little rant about us, and that'll be the end.
And his rants go viral very
Yeah.
quickly.
No.
Honestly, when he says something, I see it like 15 times. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Come on. Anyway, what I'm saying is, you don't have to be able to cook in order to be in order to not be offended. Yeah. If someone's asking you questions like that, they're asking you question number 17 when you haven't got to question number 2. That's me. That's my personal thing.
And you know, also, I feel like sometimes
is
guys
not serious.
ask,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes guys ask girls who they think they believe can't cook those questions, and they want to interrogate them. So they'll be like, "Oh, can you cook? Yeah. What's your food signature dish? This." And then they say, "So what do you when you cook rice? Do you use basmati or long grain? Like, why are you asking? Like they're pushing.
Well, that is a West African question.
Yeah,
I've never asked anybody that question in my life.
Okay.
Because I don't care.
Okay, that's very nice. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's irritating because you feel like the guy's trying to make. You have to prove yourself.
And I hate that.
It's the feeling that you have to prove
yes,
yourself.
I hate that.
I don't want to prove
The
myself.
man has to do that all the time.
No, but you don't.
So
Listen,
you have to do that
no,
all the
but
time.
I've never gone
deal
on a
with it a
date.
little bit, man. But does not do that all the time for the whole conversation. What are you talking about? Because you have to prove yourself. What do you think the man's sitting there doing? You think he doesn't know that you're judging him with everything that he says? Everyone's getting judged in that conversation.
There's an incognito judge and there's an
anybody.
outright.
Everybody's getting judged in that conversation.
No.
Deal with someone. Deal with it.
I'm there to
Deal
have
with
a
it.
friendly conversation and have a drink and a hot
So
chocolate.
you're not
hot
judging him.
chocolate.
You're not seeing how quickly he goes for his wallet at the end of the night.
I've always told everybody I don't date guys who split the bills on first date, so I'm not.
There you go.
That's
There
not
you
a
go.
judgment.
There
That's
you
the
go.
prerequisite.
They know,
babe.
but I'm saying,
that's
still,
that's not a judgment.
It is a judgment.
No,
Of
it's
course it's a
not.
judgment.
It's not, Lyndon.
Of
Because
course, it's a judgment. It's your standards, and that's fine. But still a judgment.
But you're talking like I'm like.
You just told me that you don't date guys that do that. So you judge the guys that do that to
No, I
be
haven't
not
judged
good
them.
enough for you.
No.
So obviously
It's not
that's a
good enough.
judgment.
You're just not for me. You're for someone
Yeah,
else.
just the same thing I just said.
No, you're
The
making
same
it
thing I
sound.
just
You're
said.
making it sound as if I think I'm.
What I've said is the same thing you said. You just use
To be
different
honest,
words.
for my birthday podcast, this is feeling very personal, and I just want to let everyone know this
It
is
should
not
be
the
personal.
energy.
It should be
the energy that
personal.
I'm entering my
It's about
30th
you
year.
today. Let's talk about your dating life.
Welcome.
No. To be honest, you can just bleep me out. I don't mind.
I am going to leave it in. Listen, okay, from now on, if anybody swears, I'm leaving it in. I'm not
swearing.
going to be
I'm not
in
being horrible to
cutting.
you. I'm not
not cutting
made my
anymore.
decision. Yeah.
we need to cut
I'm not-
it.
No.
I'm
Anyway.
gonna behave. Linton, I'm sorry, but can I just go back to you think that men in general get judged throughout the whole of like their dating?
Of course.
I think everybody. No.
Everyone's judging each other in the
that's
first
very
date.
true.
I understand, but the difference between I think what I was trying to say and Angela eloquently, high five, summed up was like there's this attitude
You
of
can get
not
high five too if
feeling
you want.
high five.
But you know what? It's okay. Go on, Ruth.
There's an element that Angela was describing of women feeling perhaps like maybe they're not good enough, or they have to. They have to prove themselves.
If they can cook, they don't feel that way. That's why if she gets that, if Angela gets that question, she's like, yeah, and
No.
I'll show
That's
you.
not true.
I'll show you.
That's not true. Because sometimes you can't. It's not like you're gonna whip out. Can you cook? And then you're gonna whip out a saucepan and everything and start showing them.
Yeah, but you say, but no,
You
but you
still
can
have to
say,
feel like you have to
you can
prove
say
yourself.
yes with your chest and with confidence, and you move on to the next part of the conversation.
But that's
But if
not
you
always
can't,
happen. Yeah.
sometimes it feels a bit. Oh, what you trying to what? So what? Can you bring the bacon though? Can you bring the bacon? That's what that conversation is.
So okay, so we have to agree to disagree. But I'm surprised. No. I'm surprised it comes across as if because she doesn't want those kind of questions, especially from someone who clearly hasn't subscribed to his part of the gender stereotype roles.
I'm pretty sure that anyone she's dating, I hope, has a job anyway.
Yeah, but having a job is not also is not
Oh,
really.
he's not rich enough.
No.
Linton?
No, but having a job because
I don't know how
also
you got
it's
there.
Not, but also it's not the fact that are you able to cook? It's also are you willing to cook for me?
That's a
That is
better
implicated.
question.
That's implicated in the question.
That's a
So
better
it's not about him
question.
only having a job. It's
Yeah.
about are you willing to provide for us?
Yeah.
So it's not really about them having a job. I just feel like we'll just have to agree to disagree. But it's surprising, and I think it's enlightening to see that or to hear that it comes across like she doesn't know how to cook because she's annoyed by that question.
That wasn't my thought
I
process
know that
at all.
I know that girls who don't know how to cook, some majority of them might be offended by that question because or the girls who are not willing to cook might be offended by that question.
Also,
But
girls
I don't
who-
think it's solely them. I think there's girls that can cook that just feel like what.
And
why
just
are you
happens to be
trying
part
to?
of that.
I mean, I don't know where she falls. because I haven't
They
eaten
say
her
so.
food.
She could be part
But
of
also,
any,
there's women who
any
can't,
group.
women who can't cook who'll just say, "Yeah, I can cook."
Oh, yeah.
and they'll just lie. Meanwhile, they're secretly there googling, okay, what goes this, what goes that. Do you know what I mean? But like, there's cooking and there's cooking. Do you know what I mean? So you can follow recipes.
I just don't understand why be offended at the question. I just don't.
Her offense is not at the question. Her offense is at the fact that I think it's the kind of guy who's asking the question, and perhaps in her experience, she's often had guys asking her the question who cannot provide
So why
or
is she
who are
dating
not
guys that
willing to
can't
provide.
provide?
Well, that's a whole other podcast.
That's her issue, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
You want to date people that can provide? Date them, innit? Date
Or
people
who
that
are
can
willing
provide.
to
Who are willing
provide.
to.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. But she said that she's more than happy. She did end it saying that she's more than happy to cook for a guy who's willing to provide for the family or her family. Can I just check?
So how does this
timing?
how does this conversation go? If because she
Finished.
sounds
Okay.
angry. She sounds angry already, right?
She just sounded a bit
Irritated.
like
She sounds
sounded
angry. And she's like,
irritated,
so
like
if the conversation goes the way she dreams it should go, where she goes, "Can you cook?" and she goes, "Can you provide?" Yes, I can. So back to the question.
Yeah, she said, yeah.
What happened?
Are you willing to? I can cook, and I'm willing to. That's she said. She said she's willing to cook if you can provide.
Maybe
But is that when you say provide? Is she talking about that someone can pay for absolutely everything? She doesn't have to work. That's what she means. That's what she means.
She
didn't really go into it.
She didn't really go into it.
That'd be the interesting part, wouldn't it? Because that's what I said. Is she dating guys that don't have jobs, or is she not dating guys that are rich enough for her?
Or it's not. I don't think it's about the money aspect. It's about what are you willing to do. So you can have loads of money, but you're still feeling like half.
It's like, so you know, like
I don't know what kind of guys these are. That if they've got the money, why they'd want to do half still. If they've got the money to do everything,
yeah.
well, they're not.
Some people
I
are selfish, you know.
Well,
People look after their money.
well, selfish people don't date selfish people, innit?
Well, I mean, yeah. But I was just going to say very quickly, it's like this whole thing about, this might link to the next topic, but you know, there's like this whole thing like in American black culture about, oh, fix me a plate or you get me a plate, like at Thanksgiving when we go together, like if you're bringing home like your spouse or, not your spouse, maybe like your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your partner, and there's a, oh, will you get me a plate? And it seems like getting a plate is like a big thing, or it's like a signifier of a particular, I guess, like stage in a relationship where you're like, oh yeah, sit down, I'll get you a plate. Because from what I can see, like on sitcoms or what my friends tell me, getting a plate for someone's like, oh yeah, that's my guy and I'm looking after him. So actually, it's not really about can you cook. It's really, are you going to look after me and are you prepared to look after me? I just think it's so I think getting the plate, can you cook, can you provide, we're all just asking the same question of like, what are you willing to do for me and what does that say about you as a person? I also think there's something around like wanting to cook and be the kind of person who's like happy to cook and feed everybody. So Angela is happy to cook and feed anybody and everybody, and it's not necessarily a signifier of me and you are in a relationship. Like if you're a friend of that, if you're friends with them, do you know what I mean? But there are some people who are like, I'm only cooking for my boyfriend or my husband or my family, and that's it. And I think that's important to distinguish as well. If you're the kind of person who cooks for everybody, you might be dating somebody who thinks, oh yeah, she cooked for me, and you're just like, it's not a problem. Like that's not something that's a huge indication of I'm going to take care of you for the rest of my life. Does that make sense?
Want me to have a conversation? Oh, yeah. No, I can't tell if I want the story to be kept in, so I'll have it after we finish recording.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, that is so on point.
I never understood the
think it's been
whole fix me a
overcomplicated too
plate
much.
and people getting angry. If you want me to fix your plate, I'll fix your plate. I don't get it.
I don't know.
have something
'cause
else. I think it.
Thanksgiving is kind of done on the table as well, so I don't know.
Well, just like family events or whatever. The fix
Yeah.
me a plate thing seems to be something that's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't.
It definitely, absolutely. I think also, I mean, it really depends on your background and how you've been brought up, because it's just like sometimes it's just like an issue to fix people plate, but it signifies something else to somebody else. Like, oh wow, this is very romantic.
And it really isn't.
It
I've got
really
two
isn't.
brothers.
It
I have
really
to feed people.
isn't.
If you're the eldest and you were raised in a particular traditional family,
Yes.
you have to feed everybody.
Yeah.
Do you know, like that's not a thing. I don't know. But Zizi, I think maybe you can cook. So big up to you if you can cook. Look after yourself.
Yeah.
And your
Zizi, can
partner.
you cook? That's what I want to know.
She actually says she can.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, so me and you have already said that like traditional gender roles don't really offend us. In fact, we actually quite like them for ourselves.
I welcome them.
Oh yeah, for ourselves. You know when they do these YouTube videos and they say, just a disclaimer, this worked for me.
Yeah.
Like that's for me.
True.
Like I think my issue is when it's pushed on everybody else who doesn't want it.
What are the kind of gender roles or stereotypes that you're talking about?
So the cooking, and the traditional. So I don't like it extreme. Like I wouldn't want to be like you can't work and you can't. There's couples that I've known that the man takes care of all the money, even if it's the woman's money, and gives her like, I need to buy salt. Okay, how much is salt? 57p. Here you go.
And
I can't.
sorry, what?
I
And
really
and
can't.
roll and hands out 57p.
Oh yeah.
This is what
I think that's actually abuse.
that is abuse.
Yeah.
That's financial abuse. That's
Yeah.
nonsense.
I mean,
What
if she's
thought
happy with that, can't be abuse. But I can't imagine someone being actually happy with that situation.
Maybe it's what do you call it? That thing, is it Stockholm syndrome where
Yeah.
you
fall in love with your abuser. And you don't know no different.
Yeah.
I think that's always abuse to me. What I thought you were going to say is that, you know, couples where the husband and wife, like, they pull their money together and everyone's like, okay, this is this and this and then this. Like, I know I had this guy. I had a friend who was a guy, just for clarity. And he was like, for him, he was like, I've dated girls in the past who would be like, this is my money, your money's your money. And he's like, no, for him, like how his parents did it, they're like, we put our money together. If I'm working, you get a say in how the money's done. Like, if I'm not working, we both make decisions on the money. So it's not like, this is my money and you don't get to have an opportunity to say what you want to say. Yeah, so basically he was just like, listen, if I'm working and you don't need to work, we will both make decisions on how the money is split. If you're working and for whatever reason I can't work, we will both still make decisions. That's what I thought you were going to say. Not here's 57p for salt.
It's wild.
Are you mad?
No. So the things that's what I don't like. But I think in terms of money, I think my ideas of what I think would work are completely like they started to change. But I think there's an aspect of pulling the money together, and I think there's also an aspect of having your own little portions of money that you have full autonomy on. Like if you want to go and buy some 5 mascaras, you go and buy those 5 mascaras.
Yeah.
If you want to go and buy a subscription to another football channel, you go and do that. That's very sexist kind of things, but you know what I'm saying. Like, and no one has to ask you, but why? This is another, like, no one has to ask you that.
Yeah.
But then that's just a small portion that you have autonomy over. But I think when I was saying like traditional gender roles, like there's things I don't want to do. Even down to like, and I really realized them growing up. I mean, now being grown up at 28, like I don't want to mow the lawn.
Oh, hell no.
I do
I'm
not.
not involved.
I don't want. I actually have a concrete everything.
No, but
so I
hold
don't
on.
have to do it.
Would you want your husband to mow the lawn,
Absolutely.
or are you happy for him to go and pay to find someone to do it?
Or pay to find someone to do it.
I don't care.
I don't want to
doing it.
build the IKEA bed or the IKEA
I'm not
shelves or
interested.
something. I don't want to do that.
You know what? The thing is, I'm not interested. I can do it if I
Are you shaking your head,
really had to, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Why do I have to? I've got to do something else. The thing that I really don't want to do is iron. So I'm just going to have an ironing lady. To be honest, I'm this close to having an ironing lady now. Why not? Like, do you know, I'm a very busy individual. I
Listen,
don't
my
have
dream
time.
is to be able to pay somebody to do absolutely everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Come on,
Oh
Jay-Z.
yeah.
Why not?
That's what I want.
Yeah. I would happily, so there's things that I would happily do with no, like, I don't mind cooking every single meal if I and someone else take care of something that I just don't want to do, like I wouldn't, or even take care of the house and the person does something else. Like, in fact, if I didn't have to work and I just worked just because, you know, I just want something to do in my leisure time, and the person, like, my partner was like, you know what, I cover the majority of the bills and stuff, like, you don't need to, I would be elated.
Yeah, but who wouldn't?
And I mean, some
Who
girls
wouldn't be elated?
No, some girls are no. There's some people like no. I want to do. So I had a conversation, and I'm sure she'll be fine with me saying that. One of my sisters, we're having a conversation about like I was actually getting into the car. We got like a minivan and we went to Scotland, and I asked my brother. I was like, "Can't you just pull back one of the chairs, like or like can you just like?" I think I was asking him to do something heavy, because I said because you're the boy or like because you're a guy. And she was like, no, like, we should do exactly the same amount as him.
Absolutely not.
I don't subscribe to that.
Me
now,
either.
call me old-fashioned.
I will.
Call me, I don't know.
You know what?
Call me
For me
backwards.
personally,
For me
I'm not
personally,
involved.
in my own life, I will happily cook you more. But when it comes to heavy, like, stuff, I went to Italy. Oh, my gosh, let me say this. I went to Italy. Let me tell you, the Italians in the south, they have been, I don't know, and I feel bad saying these stuff because I know that there's some feminists that are like, no, well, you're pushing us back how many decades by saying this. But for me, I enjoyed my time because they would carry the bags, carry the shopping, put it in the boot.
So very chivalrous.
Very chivalrous. Like carry the suitcases. Like leave your suitcase. No.
Yeah.
In fact, the first day we got there, we had
you're
like
paying
2 suitcases. No. But we didn't pay him extra to bring in our stuff.
Anytime I meet a tourist and I go anywhere, they all do that.
No, but you could tell that it was inbuilt in them because it wasn't one person. So, and even when I was at the airport, so let me just say, so we arrived at the villa, and we all had 2 cases, heavy cases each. Yeah, there's 4 of us, and the guy was like, told the driver, leave the stuff outside of the house, I'll bring it in. And when one of us suggested, can we help you, the look of disgust on his face, like,
I love it.
no, I said, wow, like it was even like an insult. I was like, oh wow. Then when we were leaving in the airport, strangers that I didn't know, like I was zipping up my suitcase again. I was pulling it back down and I was about to pull it to my gate. And these 2 guys said, can we help you with your bag to your gate? Nicely, not creepily. And I said,
Meanwhile,
no, but I said, wow, that's really nice.
Meanwhile, on TFL, let me
What?
tell you,
They don't care.
They don't care if you're a single mother with a baby and a pram. They don't care if you're a young woman with a heavy suitcase. They don't really even care if you're an old woman and you've got a heavy bag. These guys will be walking past you. And the only time I've ever noticed, not ever, the majority of the times I've noticed, for you, Lyndon, the majority of the times I've noticed guys stopping to help is when a woman has already stopped to help and said, oh, do you need help? And then a guy will be like, oh, do you need help? And that used to happen to me when I lived in Leytonstone all the time because there were no escalators. So you've got a woman at the bottom waiting for someone to kindly stop and be like, can you help with my child, please? So I think there is something about chivalry, perhaps where you were, I don't want to say the whole of the continent, like the whole of Europe, but compare that to the everyday, but maybe it was because you were in a touristy area.
At one point, but not the other time. No, we were in the countryside.
I do think that men are more chivalrous. When I go to Austria, all my male cousins are just like, I don't really lift a finger in that respect. Do you know what I mean? But there is like my female cousins in Austria are very much like, let me cook for you, let me do this, whatever. My cousin, when I went to go see my cousin recently, her boyfriend came home and she's like, oh, he called, he goes, okay, I'm going to fix you a hot plate. So as soon as he came in the house, the food was ready. Do you know what I mean?
And it makes you want to fall into that. To me, it's more of an incentive to fall into that, like, okay, you know what, like you just do it out of like you actually want to do it. Whereas if it's like, oh no, your girl, why, I mean, we're all equal, why can't you just carry on? And then you walk into their house and they say, can you fix me a plate? I'll be damned.
And she can cook.
Well,
Anyway.
I've had one experience. I was at work and one of the office managers was trying to lift something heavy, right? I saw her doing it. I was like, "Oh, let me do that. Let me just do that for you." She was like, "No, that's sexist." I was like, "Sorry."
Yeah, you see.
I was like, "What?" She's like,
Yeah.
"It's sexist just because you're a man. You want to help me lift the heavy things." I was like, clearly you're struggling, and I'm not going to struggle if I do that. So just let me do it. She's like, no. I was like, okay, fine.
Not me. I would
To be honest, you can't help
So-
everybody if they don't want to help. And to be honest, maybe it signifies something different to her. I think we had a conversation, and what I took from that conversation was different to what my sister took from it. Like she wants to split things equally and do things
Yeah.
equally. I don't really understand, but I don't have to understand. All I know is that it doesn't work for me.
Yeah. And I also think as well, it's easy for us to say, oh, actually, we're quite happy with that because the two of us fall into wanting to have traditional gender roles, but actually, or fulfill traditional gender stereotypes. But there are some stereotypes that just
Gender
aren't
roles and
great.
stereotypes.
I'm sorry?
Gender roles, not stereotypes.
Oh, gender roles. But there are some traditional gender roles that I just, like you said, you don't want to do, or like some things that actually probably aren't very helpful. Like if we're talking really about advancing feminism, there are some things that actually have kind of sprung up, and people kind of still think that you will do, that are actually really detrimental. Do you know what I mean? So like I would probably say anything and everything that Trump says and does is probably based on some kind of stereotype that someone told him somewhere, but it's detrimental to like humanity, to be honest.
Yeah. Or
But-
being quiet. That's one thing I can't do. Like just sitting there and being the one that's
And
like,
being demure.
and saying nothing about anything and being like, oh no, actually no,
Where they
whatever
do
my
that?
husband said.
Where they do that?
Lots
at?
I'm just saying.
places.
I
I think that the whole like quiet comes like almost like submissive, and you're.
Where
in general.
they do that?
I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah,
submissive,
I
I'm
know
not
quiet females in my family.
Well,
Are they in yours? Are they in yours?
There are some.
Some.
There are some, but they're not the majority.
Are they no? But are they being told to be quiet, or are they just quiet because it's their personality?
There are some who are quiet. My sister Kenya's pretty quiet. She's nowhere near as loud as me.
Yeah,
She's
it's their
chatty.
personality.
Yeah, it's her personality. But I guess what we're saying here is that quietness is what's the word? It's revered more than somebody who's loud or has an opinion. That's what I'm talking about.
in a woman,
Yeah.
old fashioned, if we're talking about gender roles and gender stereotypes or what they see as, oh, this is the wife, it's like, you know what, she doesn't really, those are really old school. She's like really like gentle and quiet
Prim and
doesn't- prim and proper, and she's not doing like rah rah rah. Yeah.
But the same thing can be said for guys, I think. Like, I guess like an old stereotype might be something like he's really, I don't know, good with his hands, he can fix anything, and
I didn't say anything. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh my gosh. Yeah, no one's here to help me.
a traditional
Because why
gender
did you-
role
why did you do that?
because you went like this.
No, I didn't. I smile all the
Let
time.
me. Okay, I'll start from the
Gosh,
top.
let's start again.
I was saying, what's the joke?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know because I'm saved by the blood
don't
of
know.
Jesus. So to be
I don't know
honest,
what
I
you're
don't
saying.
understand.
Okay, let's start again.
A traditional gender role for a guy might be somebody who's I don't know, here's one. Like, you know, when you're raising children, like, you know, this whole like wait till dad gets home and like, you know, your dad's got to
Disciplinarian.
shout and he's going to be really aggressive and you have to fear your dad and all that sort of stuff. That's like, I think that's a traditional gender role that I don't think not every guy wants to subscribe to. My dad actually was quite quiet, so my mum was the one who was shouting and my mum was the one who I was scared of.
My mum is definitely one that was shouting, but at the same time, it's still a respect for your dad, even though he's not shouting. So it doesn't.
Respect is different though, isn't it? Like,
Respect or fear. Your dad doesn't have to shout for you to be afraid of what he might do to you if he does something wrong.
Oh yeah. No, my dad shouted. Oh, my dad. I was more scared of my dad getting angry than my mum.
oh really?
Yeah, even though my dad had a proper way of doing things. Like my mum would just, if she got angry, she'd grab anything close to her. Like it
Same, my
actually
mum.
depended on the environment. It would be a wooden spoon, anything, a book.
My dad would get annoyed. He didn't get angry like that, to be honest with you. So I guess I was lucky, but my mum would get angry.
I mean, I'm still scared of my mum today, and I'm not afraid to say that, to be honest.
Today,
Yeah. They're still like, I just don't want to go too far.
nah, I ain't going like that. Anyway,
But yeah, do you think? Do you? I mean, I guess we agree that. I guess for us at least. Oh, what do you think, Lyndon? Because we're talking as two females who are actually not married, but what we're talking about, what we think our marriages will look like, hopefully. What do you think about this? Like, what do you think about like gender roles, especially in 2020? Is there like an actual place for them, or no?
I think there's always going to be a place for them because there's only going to be one. Well, in a heterosexual marriage, there's only going to be one person's going to have a child, right? So that kind of skews things in one way already, right?
Yeah.
So somebody's got to be there to mainly have the role of providing, and the other one's going to be nurturing their children. That's just normal because obviously men can't have children. In terms of money, there's one thing I've always said to my wife is that the one thing we're never going to argue about is money. We're never ever going to argue about that because we're just not going to do it, and we haven't. So I'd like to continue that. We're just not going to argue about money.
That's one. I think that's number one of marriages, like breaking down money and infidelity. Money's a big thing.
Yeah, so I've said we're never going to sit here and argue about money. If you need something, if I can get it, I'll get it. Simple as that. Nothing more.
Clap for Lyndon.
Yeah, Lyndon, I think you think you are not the standard, but I think you think that's like what a lot of guys are.
It doesn't
like.
matter what a lot of guys. I know what I'm like.
Ooh, he said.
I don't know everyone. I don't know everyone, so everyone can think differently. But it's only my marriage I got to be worried about.
Amen.
And ultimately, to be honest, what really matters is that you and your partner have the same idea of what a successful marriage looks like.
Yeah.
And you're compatible in that way.
Yeah.
If both of you if someone who's really independent wants to share everything gets with someone who actually wants to kind of subscribe to those gender roles, it won't work. Vice versa, you need to be with someone who has the same understanding of like what part you play in that marriage, and they'll be successful.
It's true. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you don't want to fulfill a traditional gender role, don't. No. And get with somebody who appreciates that.
Absolutely.
Don't get with somebody who wants you to literally be there when you're walking in when you were walking in through the front door and they've slaved over a hot stove all day to have you dinner on the table at 6 o'clock, because that's not what they're going to do.
I've got to say one thing though. So it's very important that women kind of understand that there's the traditional female gender role doesn't mean it's beneath the man's gender role. Because I think a lot of people think that for women to be equal, they've got to do the exact same things as men all the time. That's not the case.
Nope.
You can do different things, but they're equally as important. If you're spending your time with your children, that's the most important thing in the family. So don't worry about trying to be equal to men. Do the same thing. No, do what you do.
Yeah.
Whatever, if you're comfortable doing that, but know that it's just as important, maybe even more important sometimes than what the man's doing.
And that's a word.
These ones leaving the barbers. I was in a barber shop a couple of weeks ago. I was walking out through West Ealing, Broadway, and this white guy came to me. He's like, "Yo, I just came out from prison, innit? You know I could get some." I can get some weed.
In Ealing?
Yeah.
That's out of control.
And I was like, I don't know nothing about no weed, man. Don't know nothing about no drugs.
Actually, I'm an undercover police.
Then you're under arrest.
Yeah.
You go straight back into that.
Oh, that stuff makes me so angry.
But that's not the first time. That's happened to me so many times.
What?
So many times people have asked me, "Yo, can you get some?"
Is it because you look like you smoke weed, or just because you're just
it's because
black?
my skin is brown. It must be that. Maybe because
maybe because your haircut. What was your haircut that day?
I was fresh out of the barber.
Yeah, but was it like?
Ain't nobody.
I was fresh out of the barber shop.
Just so fresh. The fresh is so clean. That's Lyndon. That's annoying.
In fact, this happens to me quite a few times. Oh, you know what else has happened to me?
Go tell the world.
So many times, a Somalian person has mistaken me for a Somalian person.
You do look like you could be.
No. in the car, the Somali's talking to me. Oh, you're Somali, yeah? I'm like, nah.
Don't. Sorry.
A Somalian girl has spoken to me from across the street in Somalian language. Somali. And I'm like, I don't understand you.
I'm sorry,
a girl on the train station came up to me excited. He's like, "Are you Somali?" No.
Lyndon, I don't mean to be funny, but we've all got our crosses and burdens to bear. Everyone thinks that Angela's Jamaican. No one thinks that I'm Jamaican. Get in line. Do you know?
It's just
Get
it's
in
wild to
line.
me.
Everyone thinks that I'm
Wild to me too.
that I'm from
wild to
Zambia,
me.
Zimbabwe,
It's not as
Lesotho,
wild.
Swaziland,
Because Jamaican can look
Gambia,
like anything.
Gabon.
No, but it's not as
Democratic
wild
Republic
because
of
Jamaican can look like
I'm
anything
still
as long as they got brown. As long as their skin is brown, Jamaican can look like anything.
People
why
think
do
I'm
they
from
think everybody's
DRC.
from Jamaica?
No, you people don't respect my name. I am listening. I'm on 9 countries in South Africa. You people are out of control. They think I'm from. No, someone thought I was Kenyan. No one has ever thought I was
But that's very
Jamaican.
different.
Ever.
If they say I can't place you, that's
They don't
fine.
say that.
Or if they say,
They don't say
I
that
don't know,
either.
you may be from this.
They don't say that either. They say, "Are you from
races-
Zimbabwe?"
Yeah. Are you
And-
from this or from that?
And do you know
People
what they say
say-
to me?
People don't even ask me. People actually just assume I'm Jamaican.
People assume that
Until
I'm
I tell
what
them
are
that
they-
I'm not.
What are they supposed to assume?
That they don't know.
No. What do you expect them to assume? That you're Rwandese?
No,
They've never
that-
seen one before.
No. What? They have seen because they see.
No. When I met you, you're the
very,
first
very-
person from Rwanda that I'd ever met in my
But
entire
do you assume
life.
that everybody's from Jamaica?
No.
No.
So there's a specific reason why they think that I'm from
So
Jamaica
if you're in
all
the
time.
UK, if you're in London, right, any black person is a like a 40 to 45% chance that they're Jamaican.
No. Any black person is at 60% chance that you're Nigerian. That's the real
No,
truth. of
it's
the
actually
matter.
no, it's actually quite equal.
Is it?
Yeah, it's quite equal.
Serious?
Yeah, there's maybe a 30 to 40% chance that you're Jamaican. Maybe a similar percentage chance that you're Nigerian. If you guess one of those, there's a high chance that you might be right. If you're wrong, then you learn something new that day.
But why do they guess that I am neither Nigerian
I don't know.
or
I
Jamaican?
can't tell you why.
Oh, right,
I
so
can't
there's-
tell you that.
Right.
There must be something that's
Can't
stupid.
help you.
Because if you don't try the first big two, you're
No
an
one
idiot.
ever thinks I'm Nigerian.
Let's just get
or
Nigeria and
Jamaican.
Jamaica out the way first.
Yeah.
Then we can start to. Why you ignore the two biggest ones?
They never think. They think-
I actually thought Zimbabwe.
Then no one's
Zimbabwe
ever.
and then
Okay,
Caribbean.
no one's ever gonna say, "Oh, that's because how many Rwandese people have we met?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I mean, I know now. I kind of know now, and even still, then it can be confusing. But
Yeah.
still,
Everybody I think is
Find
Rwandan
it
is
a
actually
bit.
from Burundi. So
but I
I've
think
given
it's
up.
a.
But they're all the same. They're all
Burundi?
it's all the
What?
same country. Do you know that part? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
half
yeah.
of my family grew up in
told me.
Burundi. Yeah, they're all the same country.
I know, yeah.
So.
But if,
Same
if you're gonna
people.
say that I know what Somali looks like, it's quite obvious what a Somali looks like.
Maybe you look quite obviously Somali. We could be. I mean, you've had this experience. You've had a very similar experience a number of times. There could be some truth in it. I have to accept that I obviously, to some people, must look somehow Southern African. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people think I'm from Zimbabwe. Heck, I went all the way to South Korea, and people thought I was from Zimbabwe, and I said, "Are you right? No, I'm Jamaican. Are you sure? Are you
That
sure?"
confused me because Zimbabwean doesn't even have a look. But anyway,
Mm,
South African a bit more. I can kind of see a South African kind of.
No, I don't
if
have
they've
the
got
hateful bum,
those
sadly.
if they've got those
I've got everything else.
if those South Africans that have those eyes that look like they're kind of how do I say this without how do I say this?
No
Oh.
one's helping you today.
So there are a tribe of people in the south of Africa,
Angela
right?
looks so
Why are you
annoyed.
Why are you annoyed? There's a tribe of people in the southern part of Africa
I'm just listening to
Right.
unfold.
that what?
No, I'm not annoyed. I'm just listening.
There's a tribe of people in southern Africa
Yeah.
that they're the Khoisan people, right?
Right.
And their eyes look the
Educate
same
us.
as Chinese people's eyes.
Yes, I've
Some people
seen
from
them.
South Africa have some of that in them,
They
and you
all-
can see it in their face.
They also have some of the people in Swaziland.
Yeah, yeah.
That's true.
So if someone kind of looks like that, I can probably say you look South African, and I will most likely be right. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, I'm saying okay. I'm listening to you. Why I'm not? Let's listen to you.
No, why are you looking at me like that?
Okay, I'm so sorry for looking at you.
No, just look. Why? Just speak. Don't just side eye me.
I think that Zimbabweans have a look,
Me too.
and I think that South Africans have a look out even outside of that Khoisan people look. Maybe you just can't see that look yet. but
Well, the
they
Zimbabwean
do.
look, I definitely can't see that now.
Yeah, they do have a
'Cause
look.
it-
Southern Africa.
Because
has
immediately,
like a
immediately, I think of
general look.
immediately I think of two Zimbabweans, and they
look
both look
completely different.
completely
So
different.
there's always people that are outside of that general look, but in general, they have a look. And to be honest,
In fact, I can
if
think
I
of
didn't
two
know
sisters.
You, actually, before I knew you, I thought you were Zimbabwean.
That's okay. Everyone does.
I thought you were Zimbabwean. Absolutely.
Everybody does, and it was so funny to me at university because I didn't grow up with anybody who was Zimbabwean at all. In fact, my sister-in-law, she actually was the first Zimbabwean person I met. But I met her when I graduated from uni, and she moved to Bristol. There wasn't a huge. I said this before. There wasn't a huge amount of I guess African migration to Bristol when I was growing up. So people were saying, "Are you from Zimbabwe?" And I was like, "No."
I think it's because you've got a soft face and you've got round eyes. I think you've got very soft look, and I associate that kind of look with.
Someone did say to me they thought these rude people in the church looked at me and said, "You know what? I looked at you face on and I thought it was Zimbabwean. Then you turned around and I said, no, she's not. I said, you are going to what? Hell."
There's a special
I
place
said,
for
you're
you.
going to catapult yourself to hell, actually. People are rude.
They're so rude, but
Can
don't mind
imagine?
them. Don't mind
Can you
them.
imagine them? Okay.
That's a bit. So wait, what do you think? What do you expect the Jamaicans to look like then?
I don't know. They don't
When you
have
saw
a look.
Stephanie, do you think she was Jamaican?
I don't know what I thought, actually. I think I just
Don't
assumed.
think too hard.
No, I don't
The
know.
answer is no.
Oh,
Wow.
Steph looks
Why
Jamaican,
do you ask me
I
then?
think.
Why did you ask me?
I'm asking.
There-
She's
there are
thinking,
people-
thinking
no,
hard.
no.
Thinking hard.
No.
You're thinking hard, right? You didn't think she was Jamaican, and you didn't think Stephanie was Jamaican. Do you think I was Jamaican? Do
Lyndon.
you think I was Jamaican? I'm asking you a question.
What's the answer to that question?
I'm asking you the question.
No, because you already have the answer to Steph's question. So what's the answer to your question?
I'm asking you. So if you answer me, I don't have to answer it for you.
Ah, okay. So I actually can't remember what I thought you were when I met you. I can't remember. And in actual fact, I think I thought you both were Jamaican, to be honest, if I'm very honest with you, because of where I met you.
I don't think I ever thought
That
Stephanie wasn't
plays
Jamaican.
a part. Where I meet you plays a part. So I thought I met you obviously in church, and I met you in a very predominantly Caribbean church, very
Right,
Jamaican
yeah,
church.
yeah,
So
yeah.
my assumption, and especially also
But if
your
you met me
age-
in Reading, where do you think I was from?
Can I actually say? I think maybe it's still a stereotype in my head, but I think if I saw you and Steph together, I would think you were Jamaican, because I don't think Jamaicans have a particular look, and because you and Steph look completely different, and you're married. I think
Yeah.
subconsciously, I think that people generally marry people from their country, which is not the truth anymore. But there's still something in my head. I still think that you're Jamaican because
Okay,
you
that
and
makes sense,
Steph
yeah.
look completely different, and you're together. Have I answered your questions?
The interesting thing is that our families come from like the same areas in Jamaica.
Really?
Jamaicans just don't look
They
the
don't
same
have
at
a
all.
look. They don't have a
look.
look.
Out of many
That's why I
what?
just feel
One
like,
people.
how are people telling me that? Anyway, that's all right.
No, but it makes sense if people think you're Jamaican. They can't place you anywhere. Like, oh, you might be Jamaican.
No, they not because they can't place me, so they tell me that I'm Jamaican. They think I'm Jamaican. Hello, right, but it's okay.
You seem a little bit bothered by that.
Seen a little bit.
No, you seem bothered that people call you Somalian.
Ooh.
I think my sister's.
But you know why? Because the Somalian look is very striking to me. So it's like
You
very
know what?
obvious.
I don't think
when
so.
someone's Somalian.
Some of Christian's, my little brother's friends.
Show
some
me
of his
them.
friends
Show me
who
them.
they're on his.
Do you know
no,
they
I don't have
mistake
Snapchat.
Simply for Somalian all the time?
But I think they did look Somali.
I can see
they
that, yeah.
mistake my aunt for Somalian all the time, to the point where she started wearing a cross when she was on the bus and stuff, like her cross necklace. And then and so people know that, because sometimes she was never wearing head wraps, or if she did, it was just with like an African kind of head wrap. Like, I'm just gonna wrap my head because I don't want to have my hair out today.
Yeah.
And people speak to her in Somali, or they'll say, oh, you know, like the way you're, like, they'll comment on things that maybe they would be commenting on them, thinking that she's a fellow Somalian, but actually she doesn't adhere to those rules or that cultural
But then I
practice or
can see
anything.
that. I can see that though with your sister, and I
Yeah.
can see that.
I can see where somebody might think you're Somali from a distance. I
Same.
can see that.
Same.
A lot of my brother's friends actually. They
it's what it is, isn't it?
for me, when I was growing up in Bristol, there were a few Somali people in my school, not a lot, like in my primary school, but I can see, but they had a slightly different look to Christian's friends, and it's a different generation, isn't it? Because there's 20 years between me and my brother, 19, so that's like a whole generation kind of passed. Some of his friends look similar to you. Similar hair, similar complexion, similar-ish
In fact,
face
if you saw
structure.
you're Ethiopian, if you told me you're Ethiopian, Eritrean,
Yeah,
maybe not
definitely.
Eritrean because Eritreans are shorter, but Ethiopian, I would believe you.
I can understand that. When I to listen, and I know you don't think Sudan is in East Africa, but whatever. When I went to Sudan, I felt very comfortable.
When you went to...
Sudan, I felt
yeah.
very comfortable. They treat me like one of their own. I blended in
So how come you're happy about that experience, but when people...
because I went there and I felt comfortable in someone else's country.
Bro, I didn't even get to finish
I
my
went there. I went.
sentence.
I've told you when I went to
told me.
Sudan. And I showed them my passport. They were
Yeah.
confused. They're like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "We come from London." It's like, "Yeah, but where? No, but what's going on? Where are you from?" I'm like, "No, Jamaica." We're like, "Oh, Jamaica. Oh, come in, come in."
That's how they'll treat you when we go to Rwanda.
I hope so. The way you're talking about going to Sudan is very different to how you're talking about when people mistake you for someone who's Somali, because of the experience that you had there. Do you know what I mean? And I think that kind of plays a part.
The first time someone called us Somali was they're trying to cuss me.
There you go.
When I was in year 7, someone said you look Somalian, and at that point, I don't even know if anybody in my school had ever seen a flipping Somalian. So I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got to that. I don't know how they got to that, but it came true later on. I grew into a Somalian-looking person.
Well, maybe that was a prophecy.
Well, you grew into who you were meant to be in Jesus' name.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sorry.
Stereotypes when it comes to dating, especially cultural stereotypes. I feel like, are there any stereotypes when it comes to dating or when it comes to gender roles that people avoid certain cultures, or are more what, like they lean towards going to date those other cultures you want to talk about?
Explain again.
So, are there some cultures that people avoid because of the gender stereotypes that they prefer or do not want? And are there some countries or people that people tend to want to date because of those like gender stereotypes? For example,
Oh yeah.
as much as people like to talk about Nigerian men and blah 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 blah, there's a stereotype that they are providers, or they'll splash money on you, or they'll take care of you financially. Oh, why are you looking at me like that?
I just like your eyes.
Oh,
Go ahead.
thanks. So, I feel like some people prefer to date Nigerian guys because of that stereotype. That's not generally all
People
Nigerian.
who aren't Nigerian.
Yeah.
So people who aren't Nigerian prefer
Yeah.
to date Nigerian guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even Nigerian girls themselves.
Yeah.
But I think it's likely that, I guess, if it's solely a stereotype, people who are not Nigerian would buy into that more. So yeah, I'm wondering if are there any, like, on the flip side, like, I don't know if there's any about girls, certain countries that like, you know what, they I guess you said white girls that there's a
I think
stereotype that
there's this-
European girls are more sexually free and liberated.
There's an obvious stereotype about Latina women, and to me, I'm happy to be educated on this. It seems like guys, black and white guys, I'd say Latino women, because they're fiery, and they're like sexually, not even free, but like they're just sexually confident. I think there's something around that, and maybe like, and I don't know if there's anything about them like being like family orientated, but that whole kind of mix seems to be a stereotype about Latina women, which I think potentially is true to a certain extent. I just kind of think that's true if I'm really honest about the whole Caribbean. That's my personal opinion. And probably South America and probably parts of Africa. Like, that's my personal opinion. But it seems like guys will say, I don't want to date a black girl, but I date a Latina girl who acts like she's black. And that's a bit of a weird one for me.
That's just colorism and self-hate. I don't want to spend too much time talking about that, but that's not even really
But white guys also like Latina women, and that I don't think that's colorism.
Okay, it's exoticism.
Yeah,
We call it that.
everyone knows.
Exoticism. Exoticism. That's all that is. And it's really just all about sex, really. It's not really about a relationship. It's all a sexual thing. Nothing more. There's a lyric ringing in my head that I heard of a girl saying a few days ago. It's a Nigerian rapper, a girl from South London, and it's ringing in my head. She says, "I cannot marry a Jamaican."
Why?
I don't know why.
I cannot marry a Jamaican full stop.
Yeah.
That's the end of the sentence.
There's other things either side of it. There's other things either side of it. It's just put in there, and then it's just rhymed with something that doesn't really make sense into what she said.
That's alright, because lots of people want to marry you guys, so yeah.
I wouldn't. Jamaicans not worried about anything like that.
I don't feel worried about it, but it makes me annoyed. But going back to your point, so to be serious about women and guys and dating guys, I don't know, me personally, if I have a preference to date a particular guy, a guy from a particular culture, to be honest. But I do think the stereotypes are true about particular guys. So I think for me, I've dated a few Nigerian guys, and they've all generally seemed to be perhaps more happy to seemingly seem to want like the finer things in life, and to be very, not even flashy, but like, what is it, like ostentatious, is that the word, where they're just kind of like, oh, we're going to go to this amazing restaurant, or we're going to do this, or like that, those sorts of scenarios, than other guys. And I'm not even comparing them to Jamaican guys, I guess I'm just comparing them to any other kind of guys.
You kind of are, but I mean, I think anyone who's got
Jamaicans?
I think anyone that's got it is going to splash it out. To be honest with you.
Actually, I was comparing them to East African guys who...
Doesn't matter who you compare it to. Whoever's got it is going to splash it out, I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you're trying to say that they don't have it, or what?
I'm saying whoever's got it is going to splash it out. That's the end of it.
You don't think people have it and don't splash?
I mean, you might have a few stingy people, but I don't think stingy is something that you can put on
a whole culture.
A whole culture.
Yeah, but I think, do you think there's a culture of being splashy?
Possibly.
I think instead of thinking of it as like this is the standard, everybody falls below it. I think there's probably a standard, and there's some people whose culture they're a bit more flashy, so they're more extravagant, I guess.
Yeah, that's the word. Actually, it's not about being flashy; it's about being extravagant. I know. I actually know that, and I just want to say also, there's this narrative that it's only Nigerian guys who are flashy and extravagant. Actually, I don't think it's the case at all.
That's what I just said.
Oh, you said I was comparing them to Jamaicans, and I wasn't.
No, I'm saying what you're saying is they're splashy, but why you're saying they're splashy is they're saying they're splashy compared to other guys you dated.
Yeah.
Now, if you're talking about the other guys you dated, and you talk about the black guys you dated, obviously that includes Caribbean people.
Actually, I haven't dated Jamaicans
In your life. Not a single one.
Not seriously.
Raw.
She doesn't date Jamaicans.
Raw.
They don't. I've had this said this before.
Wow.
See, now I'm very involved. Jamaican guys don't approach me because what? They don't think I'm Jamaican. I've said this many times.
So Jamaican guys approach Jamaican girls.
They don't approach me. I don't know why.
Yes, it's not. That's not it.
I haven't dated a Jamaican guy. Not seriously.
In your entire life, not one.
I mean, my first boyfriend, Kanate. Shout out to Kanate when I was in primary school, and he took me to my prom from church. But I mean, he was like fresh off the boat, but not seriously. No. I told you, I say this all the time. Jamaican guys don't approach me, which is it's not a massive issue for me. I've dated like Caribbean guys, but not Jamaicans. I'm sitting here thinking. Oh, actually, was he Jamaican? I think he was like half Jamaican and half like Antiguan.
I mean, that stuff really doesn't matter too much, does it?
Yeah, but like specifically Jamaican guys, nah. But anyway, let me stop talking because I'm really out here just exposing my whole life. And
let me tell you.
Go ahead.
So I was watching something. I was trying to figure out if I was watching something or I was having a conversation, and I remember a Nigerian girl was saying that Nigerian guys tend to go to date. If they do with it outside of Nigerians, Ghanaian girls or girls from like the south, because they assume that they would be more submissive, quiet.
Oh really?
Like yeah,
Nigerian guys.
Apparently, I can't remember if it was a video or it was a conversation I had. I really can't remember, but yeah, the girl was saying, the person was saying that that the people who tend to do that because of that stereotype that they'll be more like submissive and like meek and mild and like very yeah. I thought that was rude and disrespectful.
Funny enough, my Nigerian friends at uni, my girlfriends would be like, don't date a Nigerian guy, and not even we want to date Nigerian guys. And I was like, oh, and they were like, the stereotype around that was that, and even someone else said this to me, a Ghanaian guy, more recently, and maybe a few years ago, he's like, Nigerian guys will think nothing of having a whole wife and a whole girlfriend, and that's not a problem for them. So kind of promiscuous behaviour is something that's just very much the norm within their culture. And I was like,
Whoa.
that I'm just saying that was a stereotype. That's what was
Right.
told. And so a lot of my Nigerian girlfriends are like, I don't date Nigerian guys.
Can't let that run. I can't let that run.
To be honest, even I was surprised. Honestly, I really was surprised. That hadn't been my experience. I was like, whoa, okay.
I think promiscuity is rife in every culture.
Every single one.
Except for Rwandans. That's a lie. But there's fewer
Especially
of
the
us,
white people
so-
who be smashing their secretary. So
Smashing their
Well,
secretary,
there's a lot of
Lyndon.
lingo that I can't stand by. So we have to choose nicer kind of lingo that helps our
having an
ears.
affair
Yeah.
Yes.
with
Thank you.
his secretary.
Mm.
Okay, all right. White people be doing that.
Yeah, if your man's trash, he's trash in any culture.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry.
It's just trash with a different accent. It depends what flavour you want, what trashness you want. The same for women. Women can be trash too, just in case you got to that point.
I just don't know any.
I just wanted to cover all bases. Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask, that's all.
Just want to remind the world that I'm of Jamaican descent. Just want to remind you. I've got nothing against Somalians, but I'm just not one of them.
And I've got nothing against Jamaicans, but I'm just not one of them. You've actually got a lot of people. You don't need me to. I'm just saying.
We ain't got that many people.
I feel the same about Zimbabwe.
There's actually more Rwandans than Jamaicans in the world.
Is it?
Yeah.
We've had this conversation
In
so
the
many times.
world?
I mean, Rwanda as a country is bigger than Jamaica.
It's not
Yeah,
hard,
I'm
is
talking
it?
about
We're a very small
population. No, but I'm
country.
talking about worldwide population. There's more Rwandese than Jamaicans in the whole world.
I mean, Rwanda
Doesn't make sense.
has more people than Jamaica.
Inside of it.
Yeah,
Okay, that makes sense.
there we go.
Side note, just a side note. This doesn't need to be included, but you know that the COVID death rate, is not even. I think the worldwide is about to approach 1 million. I think.
Yeah.
Do you know that 1 million Tutsi people were killed in 100 days? Like more people than have died from COVID worldwide. So it makes sense that in Rwanda there are. Oh, actually, no, that doesn't go with what I was saying. I just thought it
Yeah,
was
we're gonna cut it out.
I wanted to fine.
That makes
Guys,
It doesn't make sense.
it's actually 6 o'clock in the morning. We woke up early for this one.
We were spending all our time celebrating Fabrice's birthday, so
were.
we're very tired, and we just want to go to sleep.
Party over here, ain't nothing over there. That can't help. That's not how we can end it.
No.
Oh well, how are we gonna end
Say
it?
something really interesting, Lyndon. I say interesting.
But we just want to remind you guys that we've been asking you to let us know what kind of content you want us to talk about.
Oh, yes,
So
please.
we have our own schedule, so we'll talk about whatever we plan to. But if there is a topic that you're really keen to hear our thoughts on or opinions on, let us know. Leave us a comment in there. Leave us a comment in the comments. Is that right? Leave us a comment in the comments. Go on,
Leave
you
a
say it.
comment.
Leave
Comment
leave
below.
comments below. What? I'm
Below
not a
the
I'm
video
not a
or below
YouTuber.
the video, below this video or below the Instagram promo video. Just leave a comment or DM.
DM Lyndon.
No,
Grant.
DM Black No Filter.
Oh
What
yeah.
do you mean?
DM.
No,
Black
don't
No
DM me,
Filter.
please don't do that. DM Black No Filter.
Is that the last thing that we're gonna say?
Yeah, I'm tired.
All right, we're out.